Chairman of Ketchum, the top 5 global communications firm with 110 offices and affiliates in 70 countries. He served as the president and CEO for 10 years, and of course I lose my voice now, during which Ketchum was named Agency of the Year and Creative Agency of the Year. In his 30 years at Ketchum, Rob has also served as the director of its New York office and leader of its global corporate practice. As a client counselor, he has written the corporate narrative for dozens of companies and helped clients manage issues including product tampering, something we've talked about, data breaches, and plane crashes. Rob serves on the board of the Page Society and the Institute for Public Relations, which is housed here at UF. Let's see, he was named Global Public Relations Leader of the Year in 2016 by the International Communications Consultancy Organization. He is a graduate of Syracuse University's Utica College, where he earned degrees in journalism and public relations. So I will turn it over to you, Rob. Thank you for coming.
Thanks a lot. Really happy to be here. I want to thank Professor Ford and Dr. D for inviting me. I really want to have some fun with you tonight. I am so blown away and impressed by your school. I got a great tour yesterday. I've been in 3 classes so far. I got a couple more tomorrow. And I think you're very fortunate to be going to a school that is educating you in such a progressive way. We certainly will be very interested in University of Florida graduates. Particularly after seeing, we've hired many over the years, but particularly after seeing the very smart way that you're getting immersed in the new way things are working, which is all of what we're going to talk about today. And Medium is the message. We're hoping that we will be trending in the course of this event and that you have some fun posting on social media, and we're going to try and make it very easy for you to do that. So you can find me on Twitter and Instagram and everywhere else. And I hope you all have a number. Does everyone have a number? That's great. Why don't we dive right in? So our business has changed a tremendous amount, but I think we can still kind of agree this is what we do. We guide management of the organization to earn the relationships and reputation they need to succeed. You can parse that a million different ways, but that's roughly what we do. And I think debating much more than that isn't worth it. It's just that the context has entirely changed, as you very well know and as you've been studying here. I love to see the newsroom and the agency and the STEM Translational Center and the multiple recording studios and the big studio. When I went to school, we had 1 radio studio. I was a radio DJ and the news director of the radio station, but we didn't have nearly the opportunities that you have to immerse yourself in content creation and also the emerging and growing world of data and analytics in our field. So that's a lot of the context that's changing. But here's one way I like to explain it. Forever and a day, as I was growing up, news was a destination. We sought it out. It was time definite and place definite. You watched the evening news at 6:30. You went and bought Time magazine or the New York Times. It was a place. It was something you sought out. Now I think you'd agree, even better than I do, that the new definition of news is something important enough to find me, as it is right now on all of your devices. If something's important in your social life, with your friends, with your family, with national news, with a disaster, it gets pushed to you. And that's the way it is now. But what a weird way it's flipped our business on its head. Instead of us just being able to go to a few number of gatekeepers, we have to be able to communicate with individuals, with communities. We have to create content that really grabs people, that they then share. Because this is the currency today. The most credible source of information is a recommendation from a friend, right? That could be a piece of content pushed to you. That could be a restaurant recommendation. But if it comes from someone you know, then it has credibility. And it has pushed down the value of a news brand. It has pushed down paid advertising. It's pushed down banner ads. People want something that's authentic and that genuinely comes from someone they trust. And what a different world that's created for us. Here's another way I like to think of it. Supply and demand. You know, for the longest time, you'd think of us there on the top on the supply side of news. The clients you go to work for want an announcement. They're announcing a new product. They're announcing a new plant opening, a new promotion, a new brand, an executive that they've hired, and we issue a press release, and we send it out, or a video, and we send it out. That's all turning its head too. I like to say you need to be playing to the demand side of news. Things that everyone's already talking about. The really interesting turf is something you care about, something your consumer cares about. How do you insert your brand in an authentic way into the much faster jet stream of the demand side of news? One way you do it is by being authentic, by adding value to what they're doing and talking about, not by making an egocentric, claim about your brand. You know that if things are heavily laden with branding, people tune them out. So we have to get better at storytelling that's relevant and in their world, not just in our brand egocentric world. So that's some of what I wanted to talk to you about today. 6 ways that you can think big about your career in communications. Think really big and expansively. I want to show you some examples that hopefully you'll find interesting. And I want to do it through the lens of what would you do if you were faced with this challenge? So some of the things, we have to improve our creativity. If we're going to live up to the power of earned communications, we now have to have the creativity that I applaud the advertising world for having great creative directors, brilliant creativity in advertising. But that ad now is getting blocked. So we need the same level of creativity in media that people share, that's organic, that isn't paid. So improving our creativity. Increase speed. We were in the crisis class today and we were talking about how unfair it is now for organizations to have to say something within an hour or they're in great trouble. And we do that for our clients now. We put them on a footing to be able to move fast. You gotta keep it fresh. In our business, you don't communicate once and you're done for the year. It's now constant 24/7. I'm gonna show you some campaigns that keep coming back with a great creative idea. Thank goodness that storytelling is still a premier aspect of our business, and I know you've learned a lot about that in the course of your time here. We are still need to be great storytellers. People like listening to stories. They don't like listening to leaders. They don't like listening to corporate speak. They like listening to human, emotional, relevant stories. So we need to master that more than ever. And left brain, right brain. Well, we get the creativity side, we've got to get the left brain data side. And I'm so pleased to see that you're spending a lot of time on that for measurement, for research, for sensing what's going to happen next, harnessing data. And I'll show you examples also of achieving real results. The client doesn't just want, you'll see in these results reels, we do have impressions, ways of showing the output and how many people saw it. But we also sometimes have sales figures. What happened? Was there more traffic? Did people show up? Did they buy something? So getting more to the behavioral side. So we want to do this in a way that's fun and that is Instagram and Snapchat ready. So get out your numbers. And wait, I need Dr. D to help me here with this. And I also need these two great people, Gabby and Marta. Let's give away, a symbol of creativity I think is the paintbrush, right? Let's give away a paintbrush just to start. And I want a big paintbrush. Okay. I look forward to you taking this home on spring break, which is in 2 days, right? Yeah. Yeah. What is taking so long for this big paintbrush? Yes. Okay. We got a big paintbrush. I want a big paintbrush. Okay. Now, get out your numbers.
Numbers, ready?
Go ahead. You can draw a number. Who's trying to win the paintbrush and walk across campus and bring it to their dorm room?
Number 118.
118. Where's number 118? Come on down.
I hope you're ready. Your muscles need to be.
You have no idea how heavy this thing is. There you go. And what's your name? Joel. All right. Congratulations, Joel. Okay, let's take some pictures of Joel. Okay, so here's an example of thinking big creatively. Again, this one's under improved creativity with the paintbrush over there. And it's actually on a very heavy subject. What if your client was the National Safety Council, Washington-based group that focuses on issues facing our safety in the United States? And of course, one of the greatest health issues in our country right now, if not the biggest, is the opioid crisis. So, if you were going to be creative about that in a very respectful way, and you were going to raise awareness of this issue that we're still not even close to getting ahead of, what would be some of the things you might think of that would, again, get to relevant emotional storytelling, put a face to this crisis because it seems to be wrapped up more in just big numbers? So I'd like to show you an example of how we tried to bring creativity to highlight the opioid crisis and get people to focus on the need to do more.
Take a look at these pills. Each one has a face carved into it.
A haunting, yet beautiful and powerful new memorial.
A traveling tribute, if you will, to families hard hit by a national epidemic.
Okay, so there's something that I would like to show you. A room next door here that I would kind of remind you of what you had in your hands. Okay. Okay, let's go.
The National Safety Council created a memorial. It features 22,000 carved medicine pills, each of them bearing the face of someone who fell victim to the crisis.
22,000 pills. A new pill will be etched on site every 24 minutes.
That's how often a person in the United States dies from an overdose of prescribed painkillers.
This is somebody's daughter, this is somebody's son, this is somebody's husband, this is somebody's brother.
I get overwhelmed every time I see the wall because I was really close to being on this wall myself.
I never actually thought about my addiction too much. Now it's really making me see things more clear.
And so the biggest risk to them may be sitting in their medicine cabinet and they're not acknowledging it.
It's a warn me label that they can affix to their insurance card that says, hey, I want to talk about drugs that are prescribed to me.
All right, that's kind of a heavy one, but let's hear it for the creative directors who came up with that idea. That'll be you in just a couple of years, but I hope you find that to be an inventive solution. You see, it's very visual. It does literally put a human face on the tragedy and gets people talking and sharing it. Here's another example, also great brand, Tostitos. Love this brand. We've been working with Frito-Lay for about 20 years now. But here within the context of an issue that is very important to their target audience, that they feel they need to speak out about, a relevant issue, in this case, drunk driving, how do you tie this brand into that issue? It's not an alcohol product, it's a snack product, in a way that's creative, gets people talking about the issue, and people in their age range demographic sharing information in a visual way. Check this one out.
On the day of the big game, almost 70% of the accidents that we see are alcohol related.
I was playing in the big game. My aunt and uncle were killed. They were killed by a drunk driver on the way home.
Tostitos is coming out with a limited edition bag that actually doubles as a breathalyzer.
Basically, you just have to blow this bag of chips.
If the bag senses booze on your breath, it displays the message, don't drink and drive.
And can help order an Uber ride if a person is too drunk to drive.
Tostitos ad is just for the Super Bowl that actually could save a life.
It's a bag of chips, but it's not just a bag of chips because if you had a drink and you blow on it, it turns red and gives you an Uber code.
And so that kind of changes the way we're going to think about packaging and the way you use phones and the way you use sensors and also, of course, the way you eat chips on Super Bowl Sunday.
So 20 years this team has been doing that. Let's hear it for the Tostitos. And a lot of the members of the team are people like you. They're in the demographic, and we have brainstorm sessions where we think about ideas like this. What a way to break through the clutter and tell a story. So let's give away another item. Speed is really important. So how about a symbol of speed? Can I get a symbol of speed? Please get out your numbers. We're going to draw another number. So I think I want a wristwatch, but I want a really big wristwatch, okay? Okay, good. This, by the way, this is a real clock. It can go up on your wall. And your kitchen clock. Now, for what it's worth, obviously, Flaherty wishes he had been a game show host. Okay, well, let's give away another prize.
173.
173. Who's 170 right here? Come on down. Our next contestant, what's your name?
Sarah.
Sarah, here's your little wristwatch. There will be photos for everyone during and after. Congratulations, we got another winner. All right. Okay, I told you the importance of speed. It is a crazy world. Now, you only get the speed if you're ready, if you're actually prepared. And I see that you have the newsroom and fast creation of content here. We have ones at our company called Storyworks, in which we are very regularly 30 offices around the world working in a scrum where we'll have social listening, creative director, account planner, research, content creators right in the room, creating memes, photography, infographics, animation, and video, short form video, really fast. Some of our clients have us doing that twice a day, 10 in the morning, 4 in the afternoon. Develop the idea, send it to them by 9, get it out by 10, do it again. Send it to them by 3, they approve it, get it out by 4. And we call that Storyworks, and it is a rich combination of data for listening and measurement on the back end, and creativity and content creation. So let me show you some examples of where that really was important. You have to already be listening. This one is so much fun. This one started 4 years ago and it's still going strong. How many of you know what stovetop stuffing is? Yeah, it's a kind of pre-mixed stuffing to put inside your turkey. Now, if you're in that business and you're the brand manager then, during what exactly 3-week period do you make all of your money? Yeah, pre-Thanksgiving. You got like from November 1st to the 22nd to make all your money. And Imagine what happens when this grandmother is kind of new to texting, kind of new to the social media. And she sends a text to her grandson saying, this is when Thanksgiving is, 3 o'clock on the 24th, we'll see you there. And this guy over here says, who are you? He says, I'm your grandmother. He says, Grandma, can I have a picture? She says, of who? He says, you, LOL. She sends the picture, and of course, it's not his grandmother at all, but he says, can I still come? We're doing so then a friend of his thinks this is so funny, he takes a screen grab of the exchange and posts the whole thing on all of his channels, and the guy has several thousand followers. So we're doing the social listening, and we see this happening. There's no mention of stovetop yet. There's just this wild exchange. So what do? We say, if you're going to have him over, and anyone else, we're going to pay for the dinner, we'll send you a year's supply of stovetop, and the thing starts to blow up. And hundreds of people start saying, can I come? Can I come? All of a sudden, we then flip the story over to mainstream media, and the morning talk shows are talking about it, and all the daytime talk shows and the news shows are talking about it. That intersection of, what I love about this and all the examples in this section is sometimes the consumer is the best creative director. Please remember that as you try to come up with creative ideas. Sometimes finding your best fans is the best way to tell the story. Creative directors always think, I have to come up with the idea. Please think of the consumer as your storyteller and the person comes up with the idea. Here's another one. We have had the fun of working for Wendy's for more than 20 years also. And, what you're going to see in this video is we do trolling against McDonald's and Burger King all the time. Both us and in-house. We're always going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So you're going to see at the beginning us going back and forth with McDonald's a little bit and people's reaction to it. And then it morphs into the fact that this guy has figured out a way to vie for free chicken nuggets for a year. You'll see how he does that.
Wendy's, how does it make you feel that you guys are in the top 3 fast food chains in America? Probably not as bad as it feels to have 0.
My geometry homework get all by Wendy's instead of Jack in the Box.
Oh my God, they're doing homework now.
This is great. I'm gonna follow them after this.
And Wendy's brings down the hammer with, you don't have to bring them into this just because you forgot refrigerators existed for a second there.
They weren't holding back on what they thought on Twitter, responding to McDonald's announcements.
Wendy's is having a field day trolling McDonald's.
I'm glad you're here today. I need your help. There's a high school kid named Carter Wilkerson. He tweeted Wendy's asking how many retweets he'd need to get a year's supply of chicken nuggets, and Wendy's replied 18 million. My Oscar selfie it's holding the record right now at 3.3 million. He's catching the attention of major celebrities and could make social media history.
Breaking bad actor Aaron Paul posting it's good to have dreams. Amazon agreeing, live your best life, Carter.
Brands like Google, Apple, and Microsoft all getting involved.
Hi, I'm Ellen DeGeneres.
And I'm Bradley Cooper.
This nugget kid needs your help to reach his goal, but we need your help more.
We put our heart and our soul into that selfie. I had to hold my arms up like this for about 35 to 40 seconds. My biceps were shaking.
So you're hot on my heels.
So honestly, I just want chicken nuggets.
Nugs for Carter officially broke the record. Congratulations.
That's a fun one. But we would love to do that for a living. That's what I got to do this week. I got to do that. Here's another one that I love, but it involves Kit Kat, and I think we got to give away some Kit Kats. So we have enough for everyone here. Take a Kit Kat. Pass that bowl around as quickly as you can. Now, again, this category is called increased speed. Imagine how fast you have to act in this situation. So it has to do with a college student at a university And I'll tell you, I'll prep you for it and then you'll see it because it goes by very quickly. So he's got his car there in the parking lot and he leaves it unlocked. And of course, in it he leaves his student ID, his wallet, his keys. But there's only one thing they actually take. And then they put a sorry note on the windshield of the car. And of course, the darn thing starts trending. And so we then pounce on it and do something, as you'll see.
At first I was like, where'd my Kit Kat go? I know I didn't need that. I just said, I saw a Kit Kat in your cup holder, I love them. I didn't take anything else from your car. I'm sorry and hungry.
The curious case of the stolen Kit Kat.
Well, Hershey heard about it. He's got more candy than he can possibly handle.
There are 6,500 Kit Kat bars in my car.
Now he has Kit Kats for life. His story has gone wildly viral. The sweet surprise, much more than just a break.
To break into these Kit Kats, who is the reason for? We're not the only ones who love them.
Talk about a very sweet ending.
So now, yeah, thank you. Now, think about what you need in order to do that fast. First off, you gotta go on social media and find out if the guy's an axe murderer. I mean, in each of these last two that you just saw, is the person gonna be a terrible kind of untrained spokesperson for the brand or not? And they were both phenomenal, as you saw. Then we gotta get an activation team out to the university with 6,500 Kit Kats within 24 hours. Then we gotta develop an issues management plan in case something goes awry and doesn't work, right? So all that has to happen in a 24-hour period. You gotta be ready and you gotta have teams mobilized for it. That's part of the excitement these days in our field. Okay, I talked about the need to keep it fresh. Let's give away a symbol of freshness. A giant symbol of freshness. What the heck does a toothbrush have to do with public relations? This is Gator Blue, I might add. And this is a giant toothbrush because it's a symbol of keeping it fresh. Okay, let's pick a number. Dr. D, what's the number?
180.
What is it?
180.
180. Where's 180? Right here. Okay, come on down. All right, what's your name? Patty is a big winner of the Keep It Fresh toothbrush. All right. Congratulations. Photos later. Okay, this one involves Cheetos. We need bowls of Cheetos.
There's the little crown, and the torch, and the torch. In front here, that's where her book would be.
I have Cheetos that look like King Tut, Cheetos like Dolphin, Cheetos Eiffel Tower.
This is my favorite story of the day. How would you like to make money eating Cheetos?
Did you hear that Cheetos is offering $60,000 to anybody who finds a Cheeto that looks like somebody famous?
Your wacky, weird-shaped Cheeto can now earn you up to $60,000.
Cheetos is calling on people to upload their pictures of Cheetos that are accidentally shaped like something else. The winner will get $10,000. It's a boot. Yes. It's a Cheeto boot.
A Cheetos museum is giving away thousands of dollars.
There is a Cheetos museum.
decided that his Cheeto looked exactly like Harambe.
A Cheeto.
On eBay for nearly $100,000.
Crazy. This is a good opportunity for me to point out, especially for your folks here from advertising and other disciplines. Every campaign I'm showing you had multiple agencies involved. If I had enough time, I'd point out exactly the part that Ketchum did. I will say, we created the museum, and we did have a team buying the lucite boxes and the lighting and working with a staging company. And their job for 2 days was to make a big wing of Grand Central Station in Manhattan, the Cheetos Museum, and then drive the media around it. So really, but I want to give credit to other agencies that are sometimes right in the mix also. But I guess the point of this little sequence is that this was 4 years ago. So the brand says, now what do you got? What's your next play? You know, we got to keep selling this stuff. Do you have another idea? So this is crazy, check it out.
It isn't easy being a celebrity. Sure, there's the glamour, the parties, the paparazzi. But to stay fresh and relevant in the public eye, one must constantly reinvent, challenging the status quo. This was the issue for Chester the Cheetah, Cheeto's MC of cheesy mischief. But staying ahead of the pack isn't easy, especially in winter when sales cool down with the weather. 'Twas the season for giving though, so we gave Chester the idea of the year. The Cheetos store, the place for luxurious lifestyle accoutrement, simply made for giving. What better gift for Cheetos lovers than flamin' hot pants, a perfect onesie, or a dangerously silky scarf? Maybe high-top slippers, or sterling silver paw print cufflinks. Or perhaps the $20,000 orange sapphire and diamond-encrusted Eye of the Cheetah. Designed by Chester, and online throughout the holidays, the Cheetos store scoffed at other luxury retailers, offering seriously exclusive holiday gifts, including Cheeto, Chester's cheese-infused fragrance, and bronzy makeup. Appealing not only to choosy cheese lovers, but holiday-weary media.
This holiday season, cheesy could be the new trend.
Cheetos has released a gift collection online. You can get earrings and a matching ring
From Cheetos website.
It is awesome.
More than 2,500 outlets worldwide pounced on the story, chasing down 1.3 billion impressions in just 6 weeks. A media relations coup, and almost everything sold out, including the Eye of the Cheetah, most in less than a week, cementing Chester's impeccably cheesy style and delivering 10.5% more Cheetos sales than a year ago. Brazen, effective, seriously cheesy.
I love Cheetos.
It's gotta be visual. It's gotta grab people's attention, maybe be a little sexy. And now here's another one. You got another idea? This was last year. What are you gonna do now?
There, love Cheetos. Raise your hand.
There's going to be something that the world has been waiting breathlessly for from probably millennial. Cheetos restaurant.
Well, yesterday, a very cheesy restaurant opened up that had hundreds of people lining up to get in and thousands more on waiting lists.
It's true. It's called the Spotted Cheetah.
Cheetos has its own pop-up restaurant in Lower Manhattan.
Cheeto meatballs, Cheeto tacos, even Cheeto cheesecake.
The Spotted Cheetah is a pop-up restaurant. It's going to serve a Cheeto-centric menu during New York's Restaurant Week later this month.
The restaurant features an 11-item 3-course menu that lives up to Cheetos' dangerously cheesy slogan with items like Cheetos meatballs, grilled cheese and tomato Cheeto soup, and mac and Cheetos.
So we wanted things to really taste like real food, not just like, oh, this is food that we try to add Cheetos into.
Cheetos grilled cheese and tomato soup.
That sounds good.
You know, food.
I had the opportunity to try one of
Oh, you did?
It was
How was it?
delicious. I'm not even kidding you.
Well, people who ate at the restaurant said everything was Cheetos related, from the food to the decor to
even the toilet paper.
4 out of 5 studio crew members said they would line up to get a reservation.
You actually tried to get us in.
I'm on the wait list.
They went bananas when I talked about the Cheetos restaurant. I mean, seriously.
Reserve spots filled up within hours. But the good news is all the recipes are online. You can download them in a free digital cookbook at thespotedcheetah.com.
If you have a reservation at that place tonight, get in touch with us. Go look, we'll go with you. I'll buy it.
Delicious.
That is pretty good.
Bon appetit.
So that's how you keep it fresh, keep it going, come up with new ideas. And you see the interplay there of everything you're learning. There's video in there, there's website creation, including an e-commerce site, there's tons of digital and social, there's mainstream media relations, there's strategy, there's data. All those things come together in campaigns like this. Let's give away another item. Okay, we got a master storytelling. Let's give away one of the symbols of storytelling. I want a pencil, and I want a big pencil. Yes, we're appearing here 3 nights a week now. All right, this is a Dixon Ticonderoga #2 pencil with rubber eraser.
150.
150, number 150 right there. All right. Come on. What's your name? Sophia. All right, there you go. Sophia. Congratulations, Sophia. Now let me tell you a story that involves literally storytelling to children. And it's on a serious subject, but we have offices all over the world, 110 offices, with a big office in Brazil, in Sao Paulo. And with brilliant creative directors there. I have to say, Australia and Brazil are some of the best sources of creativity all over the world. And they have a big problem with mosquito-borne illnesses, particularly the Zika virus. What do you do about that in a way that's going to raise awareness of what needs to be done, particularly to protect young children? We have a client there called Ananse. Ananse is a chemical company, and they wanted to do something innovative. They are innovators. They can do very interesting things with chemistry. So our creative director got to know them, got collaborating with them, and came up with this, I think, extraordinary.
São 1.049 casos.
Responsável pela transmissão de até 200 tipos de vírus de várias doenças. Isto é, existe que reconhece.
Segundo o Ministério da Saúde.
Brazil is facing an outbreak of the Aedes aegypti mosquito, which transmits diseases such as dengue and Zika. Adults can protect themselves by using repellents, but children from 0 to 3 years old should not use traditional repellents, which can be toxic to them.
Bem, de 0 a 6 meses da gente no mercado nacional e mesmo mundial, não existe nada que a gente pudesse passar de repelente tópico na pele do bebê.
Mothers are worried and they're seeking safe solutions. We have one, and it's effective. Anansi presents Safe Stories, transforming children's books into books that help save lives. Safe Stories is the world's first repellent storybook. We used nanotechnology to develop this new type of mosquito-repelling product, which contains a natural, baby-safe repellent made of citronella, clove, and neem oils. It took 4 months of trial and error to convert this formulation into a varnish of microcapsules that could coat book pages. Pages that are designed to entertain children while protecting them.
Esse livro contém estas microcápsulas com produtos repelentes do Aedes aegypti.
The microcapsules are stored in the book pages, and whenever the pages are turned, the repellent is reactivated, creating a 6-hour window of protection that extends up to 2 meters from the book itself. Tests show that the book is effective in repelling mosquitoes for 3 months from the time the page is first turned, depending on the frequency of use. The children's stories remain the same, but the pages of this book can make children's nights safer and give peace of mind to their parents. Safe Stories, transforming children's books into books that help save lives.
When the creative team called me from Brazil and told me they had this idea, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. That's mind-blowing. What a way to think outside the box and not just think about what we normally do in our profession. Think of something that's really different and that helps to make news and create visibility. Another one, let's give away another product. Let's give away a symbol of measurement. I want a ruler and a really big one. For those of you in research, this is a good symbol to put up in your office in the future. Okay, do we have a big ruler? Oh good, we do. Look at that. Complete with metal edge, I might add. All right.
Number 3.
Number 3. Where's number 3? Right there. Congratulations. All right. What's your name? Chris. All right. Pass it right up. The way to people. All right. It's a symbol of harnessing data and research. Let me show you some examples. I mean, in the future, this is going to be our jobs in our field. This happens to be the coolest cognitive center I've seen, using all the data that's available out there. Happens to be for the Toronto Raptors basketball team, and we did all the visibility around this on behalf of our client, IBM. It's IBM Watson-enabled touchscreen technology and touch table technology, and this allows them to plan their roster for every competitive match they have on a couple of days before, based on all the data that they have around the team they're going to face. They also use it to pick the new players that they're going to bring on the team with knowledge not just of their stats, as in Moneyball, but also their psychographics and their psychological profile to see if they're going to mesh well with the other members of the team. So I want to give you an example of harnessing data for a client, Whirlpool. So they make Maytag, Kenmore, they make a ton of different washers and dryers, things like that, and they wanted a campaign that have emotional resonance. And here's another example of the consumer as creative director. A high school principal in their area, Benton Harbor, Michigan, came to them and said, would you donate a washer and dryer to my school? And they said, yeah, why? They said, because I have a theory that some kids don't come to school because their clothes are so dirty. And they called us up and they said, that's a terrible thing, isn't that a shame? So they asked us to do the research nationally to see if we could validate that a source of truancy of not showing up for school that was fairly prevalent had to do with dirty clothes. And we found out that it did, definitively, and then launched this program to encourage others to have awareness of this.
When I was homeless, we had no clean clothes because we only had a little bit of money and we used our money for food. We have a washer and dryer at home. It's just that our electricity was shut off.
If they miss school, then they're not going to get their education.
We wanted to determine if there's a connection between a student having access to clean clothes and an improvement in their attendance rates.
We originally started this hoping to impact attendance rates. What we didn't realize was the impact that it would have on so much more.
If one story is going to stick in your brain today, I think it could be this one.
Whirlpool.
It may seem a bit unusual, a washer dryer leading to student success, but staff here say they've seen it work and it's changing lives.
They went from kind of being embarrassed to this confidence level of, look at me read.
How I feel with clean clothes, hanging out with my friends. I feel like nothing can stop me.
So is that the kind of storytelling some of you like to do? God, I think that's good stuff. Just as real by itself is kind of neat storytelling. And as you see, that program is expanding and expanding. And all the other brands within Whirlpool, is like 7 or 8 of them all say, we want one like that for our brand. Last one, but we've got to give away another prize. Achieve results. Achieve results. Let's give away something that's a symbol of business results. A big symbol of business results. You got one back there? Beautiful. Yeah, bring that right out here. Let's hear it for Gabby and Martha, by the way. Help us out here. Over here. Thank you. Okay. So we have this $100 bill. Let's give away a $100 bill. Now, what you may not have noticed as Gabby came out, why don't you turn that around? I told Dr. D, you do this every day in class, you're going to get a crowd. All right, for the real $100 bill and the big $100 bill, what's our number?
228.
228. Where's 228?
Oh my God.
Yay, Taylor. Beautifully timed suspense there. We're doing our own storytelling now, right? Okay, last one. So a year and a half ago, we were in a big competitive pitch, and we're pitching for the Puerto Rico account. The government of Puerto Rico doing their tourism and the corporate side of the account because they have a big debt issue and helping them get out of debt, and they're also vying for statehood. So it was a real combination of our public affairs practice, our corporate practice, and of course our marketing people, and we're getting ready to sell tourism in Puerto Rico, and then what happened? I think you know, right here. Hurricane Maria hits 1 month after we're hired. We're hired to do happy promotion of Puerto Rico. Hurricane Maria hits and absolutely devastates the island. Now this is about our most recent work just a couple months ago on the 1-year anniversary of Maria. All the coverage in this kind of thing, in any location, Houston, etc., the 1-year coverage tends to be very negative and tends to be about what hasn't been done and how devastating it still is. It's the natural inclination of journalists to want to go around and find the house that hasn't been fixed. But that's terrible for the people of Puerto Rico. Forget about the tourism board, whatever. If you're going to rob them of the #1 source of their economy there, which is tourism, by sending only negative stories out of the 1-year anniversary, they're going to be hurt by it. So what would you do if you were trying to create some level of positive coverage on the 1-year anniversary? What could you do creatively?
The eye of Hurricane Maria just came ashore in Puerto Rico.
The winds are ferocious right now, gusting above 120 miles per hour.
The island is destroyed.
A year after the devastation of back-to-back hurricanes, Puerto Rico was bracing for yet another storm, this time from the world's media.
Now, 1 year later, homes have been rebuilt, roads repaved, but many communities are still struggling to recover.
All eager to revisit the destruction and poke holes in the recovery, as they do in 90% of all coverage on the anniversaries of natural disasters. We turned this negative news cycle on its head, showing the world instead that Puerto Rico was back on top of its game. We returned to the neighborhood that best captured the human impact of the hurricanes, where desperate residents had painted a huge SOS on one of their intersections to signal passing aircraft.
SOS. Necesitamos agua, comida. We need water and food.
Repainting it with a new message that celebrated the resilient community, welcomed visitors, and invited media to #cover the progress instead of the devastation.
A tale of two messages, one desperate, one hopeful. This image caught us and we rose to the challenge of #cover the progress.
By changing the media's focus, 70% of coverage surrounding the anniversary was positive, generating 1 billion media impressions and helping put Puerto Rico back in business in record time. Desirability of Puerto Rico as a travel destination has jumped 23%. Vacation package sales are up 12%. Flights are back at pre-hurricane levels. 4 more cruise lines now visit the island, and the New York Times has ranked Puerto Rico the #1 place to visit in 2019.
El mensaje de bienvenida, eso le quiere expresar al mundo de la comunidad. Que estamos bien, estamos de pie.
So much of the work that we do can be meaningful, and I invite you to join us to do some meaningful work like that. We would love people from the University of Florida to apply to Ketchum. I'm blown away by the strength of your program. I've been thrilled to join you here today. I congratulate all the winners. I want to thank again Professor Ford and Dr. DeStasso, and I also want to acknowledge someone who does not come to many of my speeches, but there's a lot of sacrifice in doing this kind of hard work and flying all over the world, and Mrs. Flaherty is here tonight. So I said, Tammy, I'm doing this crazy thing, giving away all these things, these props. It might be fun for you to be here. So we're on our way to a wedding in Tampa. Very, very happy that you're here with us. And to all of you, I wish you such an incredibly bright future. And I want to turn things back to Dr. D. Thank you so much for joining us.
We have a few minutes for a few questions. Does anyone have question? Anyone? You nailed it all?
There's one right here.
Okay, so obviously you guys have done so much good work for like Puerto Rico and the Zika and all of that. I know the relationship with Ketchum and like when you guys were working with Russia was like pretty heavily criticized towards the end. So I was wondering, like, when you're choosing clients, how do you draw the line, and at what point do you decide like even though we're not necessarily working in like foreign relations or things like that, we don't want to be like in relation. We don't even want to be associated with the client. Like,
Yeah.
how do you define that line?
Yeah. Well, I can tell you that I'm the one that made the decision that we'd move away from that relationship, and it became pretty obvious, right? At the early part of that, it was about economic development for a country that was moving more toward democracy, and then they weren't, and it was time to move away. But there have been many others that we chose to not take. I was talking to people yesterday in a class. We're the leading food agency in the world, and sometimes people come to us because they need the credibility of the Ketchum brand. And we will say to them, you know, if it's a nutraceutical or something with a specious claim, we can't work for you. Because part of what we do is we go to market with credibility. And we've also had clients come to us, I told some examples in a smaller setting than this, in which someone came to us and said, we want you to really heavily merchandise this product through this cause lens. And they wanted to do something that was really not substantial. We said, well, do it under these circumstances. You either do it right and make a really substantial, meaningful contribution in an ongoing way, or we can't be your partner. You know, because you're bringing your own reputation to the market, not just the reputation of your client. So great question. The line has to be clear. Thank you. Yes?
Thank you for coming to UF. That was incredible. It was a spectacle. What can we do right now as young professionals to get involved in the field and start working with the right people to achieve all of our goals?
Yeah. Well, you know, look for the agencies that are doing work like that can be meaningful to you. Find out if they have a fastball. You're going to graduate with one here. I had a trade press editor say to me a few years ago, it's Paul Holmes, you may see the Holmes report, and he said, Rob, 10 years ago, if I wanted to figure out how differentiated each big PR firm was, all I had to do was have breakfast with the CEOs and they'd tell me. Now you're all saying the same thing. We have to do storytelling, it has to go viral, we have to measure it, we have to do data, we have to do creativity, content creation, content marketing. How can I tell the difference? I said, get under the hood and figure out which ones are making it real. Because you can talk a good game, but what we had to do was invest in mandatory education for all of our people. The education that you're getting now. But think about it, 2,400 people at Ketchum, they didn't get the education that you're getting now. All the cool stuff. They were raised in a media relations world. And some PR firms are hiring hotshot digital people, And they're solving it. I got 50 people that I've hired to do this. That isn't the way it can go. I call our training program No Account Executive Left Behind. Everyone was going to be trained. Mandatory training around the world in about 10 modules, advanced social listening, AI-enabled influencer management, new ways of doing paid amplification, telling you about the Google algorithm. What's the intersection with public policy? We needed to re-educate all of our people at once over 2 years, and we did. So ask the questions that, I've been asked a couple times today, look at your resume and don't leave out the courses you've taken here. Don't just go your GPA, your major, grade school, whatever, and then your intern. Put in the 4 coolest sounding courses you have, because we want to hire people who actually did this stuff, and I guarantee you 90% of the schools aren't teaching what you're learning here.
Okay, yes, I think we're gonna end on that.
Let's end on that.
But that is better.
Thank you again.